Act purposefully, act with awareness, let go of what you can't control. Because balance isn't the absence of chaos, it's the awareness that we have within it. Have you ever noticed that there's something strangely calming about playing with a snow globe? That moment you flip it upside down and glitter rains down and chaos explodes from within it. And for a second, that tiny world disappears under a storm of sparkle. And then slowly, the chaos settles, the glitter falls, and everything returns to its place exactly as it was. Have you felt that before? It's oddly satisfying, right? I never actually owned a snow globe, which is why I bought this one for this video. But as a kid, I always wanted one. They reminded me of growing up on the East Coast, of the winters, of New York City trips, visiting my grandparents, the glow from store windows. There was something so magical about them. And as an adult, I've realized that snow globes aren't just toys. They're actually pretty impressive teachers, because it teaches us that life is dualistic. Sometimes we're being shaken up and sometimes we're still, but both exist within that exact same world. And from clarity comes chaos, and from chaos comes clarity. And the chaos, it isn't the problem. It's just the energy of life itself. The real wisdom is how we decide to meet it. Why do snow globes comfort us? I mean, think about it. They should be stressful, right? Tiny worlds being thrown upside down, but they're not, because the chaos is in our own hands. We can control the storm. We know that if we just stop shaking, everything settles again. But life isn't like that. Life's like a snow globe that someone else is shaking. And lately, I don't know about you, but it feels like whoever's holding it, they will not stop rattling. Good news, bad news, uncertainty, pressure, constant noise. We wake up to notifications and headlines and emails telling us we're already behind, and our nervous systems are worn thin. We end up eating poorly and sleeping poorly and stressed out and out of balance, completely out of sorts, and we're living inside this storm. But just because we can't stop the shaking, it doesn't mean that we're powerless. What if the goal isn't actually to calm the storm, but instead to change our relationship to it? Today, I want to share with you something that's called Kriya Yoga. There are 3 steps or stages or components of actions that we can take to find balance in a world full of chaos. The first stage or the first step or the first component, it's not necessarily linear, is to do something different. Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "My actions are my only true belongings." We can't control what happens around us, but what we can control, what we do own, is how we decide to respond. The word for doing something different in Sanskrit is tapas. It literally means heat. It's the friction that we feel when we do something different, not habitual, when we break patterns and step into the unknown or the new. Because balance isn't found by resisting change, it's found by actually leaning into it. When I first started teaching yoga, I wanted everyone to like me. This was a pattern of mine. So I taught fast, hard, athletic classes, which I thought people wanted, and it worked. My classes were packed, but deep down, it never felt completely genuine. Through tapas, through doing something uncomfortable, something different, I slowed down, I realigned my teachings with who I actually was. And at first it was awkward, it created a lot of heat and discomfort, but it was necessary because that's where growth happens. And we need growth to overcome chaos and to find balance. So how do we know what to do differently? What patterns to break? We have to look within. So the next stage or the next step or the next component of Kriya Yoga is to look inward. When you're caught inside the snow globe, caught inside the chaos, all you see is swirling white. You can't tell up from down or left from right. So you stop trying to see outward and instead you turn inward. That's Svādhyāya, that's self-study. It's asking, what am I feeling? What am I needing? What can I learn from this moment? And it can look like many things: journaling, meditation, study, quiet reflection. And then, even as the snow keeps swirling, this self-reflection gives us a still point. For me, it's Svādhyāya that helped me to see my old style of teaching wasn't aligned with who I wanted to be, how I wanted to teach. But here's the key, and this is really important. Even when we act with awareness, things don't always go as planned. And that doesn't mean that we did something wrong. I'll say that again, that doesn't mean that we did something wrong. Which brings us to the final part. Surrender the outcome. It's called Īśvara Praṇidhāna. We've been trained to chase outcomes. The number of likes we have, the number of followers, results, but attachment, it quietly robs us of peace. Remember, as the Buddha and Thich Nhat Hanh said, our actions are our only true belongings. The outcomes aren't. Balance isn't measured by how fast things settle, but by how it is that we're showing up while they're still shaking. Īśvara Praṇidhāna means surrender. It's not giving up though, but showing up fully and trusting whatever unfolds. When I shifted to teaching slower, less intense yoga classes, my class sizes dropped. The people who came to sweat, they stopped showing up. And if I had been attached to the outcome, I would have gone back to how I was teaching before, but I stayed the course because that's what felt true. That's Īśvara Praṇidhāna. So how do we find balance in a chaotic world? Well, we take life back into our own hands. Tapas, we do something different. Svādhyāya, we turn inward and reflect. Īśvara Praṇidhāna, we surrender the outcome. Act purposefully, act with awareness, let go of what you can't control. Because balance isn't the absence of chaos, it's the awareness that we have within it. That's the practice. Meeting the shake, not waiting for it to stop, and maybe when the glitter finally settles, you'll realize peace was never in the stillness, it was in how you chose to see the globe all along. So keep holding it gently, keep showing up, keep returning again and again to that quiet center within. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, share a comment, and I look forward to seeing you again really soon.